some motivation for all this enthusiasm that you've soaked up today. Little bit of conversation here about seabeds. There's a new tag list within Occult Watcher feed. I don't know if this isn't something you can say with a feed in Occult Watcher desktop, is it? I don't believe so.
You have to ask that copy.
I don't think it is.
It's in OWC.
So there's a small number of targets that most of which Dave showed you in the talk this afternoon, which are now tagged as those within Occult Watcher. Here's a couple that are coming up. 2000 NN3 is one of the as yet not seabed candidates, but a good opportunity. This is early next week across the middle of the North Island. It's pretty low altitude. I think from there, you guys can really read it, but it's basically only 14 degrees in the east, and it's an 11th magnitude star. So 11th to 12th. So this isn't a particularly great option. The better option is actually on the same night, I think. And Murray's just stepped out of the room, which is a bit rough.
He knew it was coming.
Because it's basically at his place. And this is 999 JR73. So this is really new. This is out of the seabed. This last month. So there's an opportunity for Lower Hutt to confirm that one. The altitude's much better, 55 degrees. Murray's just got to organise his weather. On our side of the ditch, it's around Forster. It's the path. But as you can see from the uncertainties, it's not a Satan's House's prediction. There's a bit of fluff there. And perhaps with the two components that would probably make it even fluffier than exactly where the path is. But as I said earlier this morning, there's the opportunities to discover new ones, and there's an opportunity to confirm one.
When's that on?
That's May the 21st. Take note, Murray. Make sure you scope that. Scope is running on May the 21st to confirm a close double asteroid.
Okay, right, might be going to work the next day.
I should get the asymmetry from that observation, which is good. At least get that into horizons and get all that.
Try and sharpen it up. Yeah, 11 right on 11 o'clock. What else have we got here? Why did I pick this one? I think this is another one, isn't it? Another seabed tag object through northern Melbourne on the 25th. Not sure we've got anyone from Melbourne on the call. And this is another one of two. Oh, who we got?
It's Peter.
Oh, it's Peter, yes.
There's someone now. Dean went to Perth.
It's probably a bit well to the north of you guys, but this comes back to that challenge of chasing a particular event tends to need to be moved rather than one coming to you. Then there's another one of 2000 NN3, actually goes right over the top of Catherine Township. Of all the empty space up there in one town. Extraordinary. Okay, so we've got some TNOs here. I always like good TNOs because I don't like my occultations to be dead certainties. I tend to like to go prospecting for rare and unusual ones.
You're sick.
Yeah, probably. So 2002 GG166. It's a large Trans-Neptunian object that's coming up on the 2nd of June. And pretty much everybody here is a potential for that.
And for these ones, the lucky star uses the Gaia magnitude, which is just an unusual one.
They're not Gaia magnitudes. They're
I adjusted the magnitudes on the basis that they use large telescope with a long exposure time. So the magnitudes they give are always brighter because they assume we're going to have different exposure. It's a crap process they do, but they insist on doing it. And when we put that data through into Occult Watcher, that adjustment they do is removed.
Oh, good. Okay. So I'll pick this one. It probably hasn't come through to Aqua Watcher yet, but it'll be cleansed by then. I think this is about a 40 bag.
There's a challenge, but we've decided to go for this. It's been unsuited in the treatment.
Yeah.
So if we use the occult
Using the cold, but it's all right, maybe.
or occult watcher.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So that one's red hot for Auckland, but that's the 1 signal line. So it's red hot for everybody.
We'll have the size half-metre refractor organised for that.
Excellent.
You'll go to that. I'll tell you that.
Actually, no 1 signals. I can't remember. Another one, north of Sydney. This one is a brighter star, quite a long duration. And yeah, probability of occultation at St. Charlie, only 2.4%. So we're talking, these are the objects that Gaia can't re-image. So Gaia could never contribute to the astrometry for these objects. They're just too far out, too faint. There's a whole pile of asteroids that have not enjoyed that prediction benefit yet. Okay, this is.
Steve, is that a TNO?
Is that a what?
Sorry, that's a TNO, is it, Steve? That one?
That's absolutely the
It's over
TNO.
my
Yep.
place. Yeah.
Geocentric distance 35 AUs. It's a long way away.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, here's a good story. Pulkovo, major main belt asteroid, really well-known path, really well-known object, bright star, magnitude 5, right? So this is a binocular job. All of metropolitan Adelaide is within the path. In fact, they're pretty much on the centre line. It's at a rather unpleasant hour of the night, just before dawn. Yeah, sorry about that. Where this gets interesting is that on the same night, in the same star, Pulkovo has a satellite. This is a satellite, I think, I'm not sure of the discovery circumstances. It may have been by direct imaging because it's quite a big object. And it's been monitored by 8-meter class telescopes for a while. So they have a very solid prediction of where the satellite will be. And that's the path through it. So it's just clips the end of the Fleurieu Peninsula, but it does go through the northern outskirts of Melbourne, albeit in twilight. Remember, this is a 5th magnitude star. In searching around for this, I found this poster written about Pulkovo and its Pulka moon. I don't think that's very official. But anyway, by a bunch of people at Paris Observatory in Côte d'Azur in France, looking at, and I've chopped this off just so you can read it. You can find it on the internet. There's a link. Puzzling over how you have a stable orbit for a large object around an irregularly shaped object, which has been a perennial question for like the rings around Paraclo, and some of the other double objects. How do you have a stable pair in that configuration? So there's a lot of interest there. These guys, all their work has been based on these little tiny telescopes like Keck and VLT and Gemini. The word occultation doesn't appear on there. It could. So there's a great opportunity to do a simultaneous occultation with a bright star in a well-populated area at an ugly time of the night.
Need to get the Melbourne observers.
Yes. Oh, Peter's on the case, I think, maybe. Another lucky star one, I think this is a Trojan, reasonably bright star, very long duration for the size of the object, 6.2%, because it's obviously near quadrature, going north-south. One for New Plymouth. Eighth magnitude star, nice and bright, very early in the evening, so you'll have to get your scopes on between when it gets dark. This is on September the 3rd. I think on this side, it's around that 4-star Port Macquarie area. This is a 4th magnitude star, very precise prediction. between Invercargill and Bluff, running on down that way.
There's 5 people in that.
Mm.
Yes.
Is he on which? He's on this side, isn't
I'm not sure.
he? So, but yeah, excellent Bright Star events, and this is a bit of a novelty one. Occultations, observable occultations by one series, few and far between. You've got to find a bright star, and we've got a magnitude 7 or 6.6. It's quite a red, 6.6 red, 7.3 visual. Science value here, nothing. Novelty value, huge. It's a big object. Unfortunately, we don't have any occultation observers in that space. Used to have a couple of guys I could tap into it now, but they've all left town.
Would this be a good visual one or visual with a telescope observation for outreach?
That's where I see the appeal is, but it is only one magnitude drop. It's not a disappear. It's going to be, it should be quite observable visually, but it's probably not going to be spectacular. I'm toying with the idea of doing a Greys expedition. And I wanted to ask Dave just how confident we would be about the location of the edge of the shadow. Do I put my stations 200 metres, 2 kilometres, or 20 kilometres apart?
What you do is you generate the occult map, and then there's an option in there to bring up shape models.
Yep.
And I think there's there's a shape model that shows all the craters,
Oh, excellent.
which is the right size. So it has a dimension on it. You need to scale the shape model to match the scale of the top. Actually, best off plotting the path in Google Earth.
Yep.
And then you've got to be careful about top centric distances versus fundamental plane distances.
It's not a very high altitude, so it's
Well, the altitude is long path, that doesn't matter. It's a cross path
Yep.
distance. I think there should be some controls in there to deal with that. And in the shape model, there'll be a line which gives the diameter. And you make sure that the Google Earth map matches the distance to that line. That means you've got the shape model correctly shaped for the path. Then put the centre of the shape model on the centre of the path, and you'll know exactly where the path ends.
okay. So
Would be an excuse to go to a new colour.
oh well.
If they're not writing it,
So Clearview is much more glamorous. The Bruce Highway at this point, halfway between St Lawrence and Clearview. The downside is I have actually quite hard appointments on both sides of that date, and where I think the path goes is right through the middle of the large new sugarcane development area. October's the height of the crush. There could be 24/7 heavy transports. It may not be a great place to be. So turning mutual events. I tried one last year. There are predictions on the IMCCE website, and there are predictions out of Occult. They don't necessarily agree with each other. I tried an event last year that looked great on IMCCE, but Occult told me it would be a non-event. It was a non-event. Nothing happened. The season has started again now. The Saturn's out of the east side and pre-dawn. When you run the predictions in Occult, you will get a lot of options, a lot of events, and some of them are quite dramatic in the magnitude drops. Some of them are just almost non-events, but others are quite deep. Be careful though, because many of those eclipses are of satellites 1 and 2, which is Mimas and Enceladus, 13th and 12th magnitude. Hard work, very hard work. This is probably the one that's worth chasing, 3rd of July. It's Dione eclipsing Tethys, their 10th magnitude, and a reasonable sort of a drop, 1.1 mag over about 4 or 5 minutes, I think it is, 15:01 to 15:07. Probably low altitude for us in Australia, better for New Zealand. If you've done mutual events for Jupiter, it's worth having a go, but these are much harder. 10th magnitude objects versus 4th and 5th in Jupiter. A challenge.
And usually the real challenge then is you probably need to have a methane filter to get the brightness of Saturn knocked down. And relatively speaking, the satellites become brighter. But of course, they're about 5 magnitudes later.
Yes. So in the graphic, 4 will remain visible and 3 will dim to distance. And they're close together. Thankfully, the moons are quite small at the moment. They're right on edge on, which is why these events are happening.
Who would you report those to?
I'm CC collecting the observations. I've got nothing to share with them yet. It's with that.
Yeah, they did it 14 years ago as well.
And Occultations of Antares we'll be talking about 10th of June. Pretty much all of us are inside this, but this is basically a full moon event. Probably still quite a spectacular affair. On the 31st of August, you've got one where New Zealand is on the grey zone. So here's a close-up. People on this part of the South Island will see an occultation. People on this side will see a mist. Here's the grey zone. It's a bright lean greys, which may not be a big deal for the primary. You may still be able to do that. It's
You can. A bright leading event, the old prediction limit was 4.3 magnitude for a bright leading event.
okay. So it wouldn't work for the secondary, but you'll get the primary. And it's a first quarter moon, so you're not burning your optics with a full moon.
Was the previous one, is that before or after full moon?
Previous slide. I'm assuming from that it is just before.
June 10.
Because there's a path there in daylight, so the moon's already up.
Yeah, so that'll be.
It must be before. We disappear on a slightly dark week.
In which case, if you haven't seen Antares, the reappearance, it's really good on a post-war or earlier. Because the second it comes out and it's really bright. I've seen it many times, and I always think, oh, geez, I missed seeing it secondly. And then the searchlight comes out. It is truly spectacular.
Just to point out, just chase that up. It's June 10's a full moon.
What was that?
June 10 is a full moon. Is that right?
It's near.
It's very close. It must be just before.
Yeah.
Just before full moon.
Yeah. Okay.
For it to be effectively a daylight occultation in the Kimberleys in Indonesia.
Yeah.
1972.
That's pretty cool.
Mm.
Okay.
Might be the time slice of darkness.
TDSO 20, Tamworth with Nakar. Please come along. Please consider presenting something, either in person or remotely. Your input's always appreciated. We might even go to the workshop. If Michael can't make it, I can continue the experiment.
You'll be an expert on that.
Yeah. Yes.
A lot more experts. It's not that hard.
Yes. We need more experts.
So people were asking about Tamworth earlier. For those that haven't been there, it's about 500 kilometres sort of north-northwest of Sydney. So it's a day's drive, a 1 hour flight, which would cost about $200. Actually check the price of the flights on Good Friday, for Friday the 3rd. It's about $200 each way. Whereas the train's about $80 each way. One advantage of the flight, you get a flight in the mid-afternoon, so you can actually leave New Zealand in the morning, connect to a flight to Tamworth in the afternoon on a Friday.
Spend your bonus 2 hours. Spend your bonus 2 hours on the way.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to stay overnight in Sydney or whatever to get the train the next morning. It's a 9:30 departure. But I apologise that there's no NACA website yet. That's not your fault. It's other people's fault, not mine either. But hopefully sometime soon, particularly those who've been to NACA in the past, you should start receiving some emails about what's happening next year. I look forward to seeing something there.
Very good. Thank you. We've got to be out of here in 10 minutes. So
Plenty of time.
really appreciate your attendance today and your enthusiasm. Great to have with you. So
Thanks for organising, Steve.
all right. And thanks to our online attendees. Always enjoy having that input and look forward to seeing you next year, if not beforehand.
Thanks a lot.
One of these, come and talk to me.